Hello. I'm going to say a bit today about navigating difficult experiences, uncomfortable sensations in the body, challenges. That could be kind of life circumstances, it could be relating to health, or it could be emotional. So we know through this exploration, or we see more and more, that reality that we're experiencing is through the filter of subjective perceptions. It's about thought created reality, essentially. And we know that the way that we think completely influences how we perceive things. So the more we go into depth into that direction, there is a tendency sometimes to dismiss reality by saying, well, it's just all thought created. It's not really happening. There is no real other in the way we think there is. And in an absolute way, then, maybe that's true on one level, but in reality, that totally bypasses what's actually happening and what's occurring, and can prompt us to not deal with things and to almost live in denial for what's actually, occurring. So this is an opportunity to, instead of go down that path, is to get really intimate with experience, get so close to it that we can actually look at it and see it for what it is. Because so often when we're feeling deeply uncomfortable, when there's pain or when there's suffering, there's a natural response to hide away from any of those uncomfortable feelings, obviously, because it is not something that we want to sit with. So our tendency is to try and numb those feelings, to seek a distraction perhaps, and to preserve the state of this identity which keeps everything intact, this kind of mental construct of who we are. The really challenging feelings are coming when that feels like it's under threat. And that's really difficult because we are so used to that conditioning into preserving and protecting the identity that it almost feels wrong or weird to just sit and observe and be with the discomfort. But actually, this is where it gets really interesting, because it's only really when we get close to experiences and we get courageous enough to look a bit more closely at what's really going on, that we see that the discomfort can't actually hurt us or overwhelm us in the way that we initially thought it could. And it's not to say it's easy. It's absolutely not easy to a conditioned self to experience the depth of emotion that comes up when we're allowing the feelings that are there to truly be felt, which is all that's ever, they're asking for, is to meet those feelings in the moment so that they can dissipate, dissolve again. But so often we want to push them down or deny them, so it just persists. So perhaps in moments of insecurity, confusion, pain even, there's just a really gracious sort of invitation to be with them in a compassionate way, to be curious about where these sensations are arising from, and critically to notice the difference between what's actually arising in the body and then the narrative in the mind, which creates all these concepts, all these really deeply compelling surround sound type ideas about this identity and this validity and the worth of this person. When that stuff is all like a mental construct, reality is only ever what is happening here right now in this moment. And when things get really complex and really overwhelming and really stressful and anxiety inducing, perhaps it's an opportunity just to come back to the simplicity of this moment. Because all we ever have really is sensations in this body, in this room right now, with whatever is arising, with the in-breath and with the out-breath. And that really is all that's going on here right now. Everything else is a flight of imagination about what that means for me, what that means for the future me, how I reflected on that previous self. It's all that jumping around in time that the mind does, the mind activity, in its innocent bid to try and protect the self. But actually, when that starts to drop away and we settle back into this space, then suddenly there is all this space that's available to us that wasn't before, because we were clinging so tightly to the story we couldn't even see. There was no space to let any chink of light in. And then maybe there is, and maybe there's time to settle down and to just sit and to be still, to hold still in safety, knowing that this is all transient and that it can all be here right now. So I hope that's helpful. Take good care. Bye-bye.